Ladies and gentlemen, this is Thrice with Thrice's Daily Download, coming to you live out of Austin, Texas on FreedomizerRadio.com, Monday through Thursday. It's going to be at 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, everybody. So if you're joining us live, show, alright. Today's show is going to be entitled New Energy from an Old World. Alright, so we'll get into that a little later. First, we're going to start right out the gate with a news brief, just to kind of touch a little base about the whole ISIS thing. Syria and Iraq still suffering. They're starting to talk about ISIS being actually here. Well, not just here like in the States, but more or less in Mexico. And basically, there's this whole fear going on that they are in Mexico, guys, and they are actually working on coming over here and doing some bomb threats for 9/11. You know, I don't know what to think about all of it. I haven't heard. I'm going to be looking into more of that this week. I haven't heard a lot about any cities or anything bad happening in the state so far, and you would think that if there was this flood of illegals, you would see an influx in crime and those sorts of things. I know there has been a consistent influx in crime over the years because of more and more people coming over the borders, but I'm just saying, like, as a drastic thing, the way they're making it sound on the mainstream media. But as far as the hard facts, I haven't seen them yet. I'm going to be looking more, like I said, into that, try to bring you guys some actual evidence. What are the numbers? What is the evidence that is causing the issues from the local towns and surrounding areas? Not just, the news of, oh, and look, here's tracts, and here's a Quran Bible. CNN. Anyways, so going into what we got here internationally, Russian soldiers in Ukraine are wearing Ukraine military gear. This is something that the Ukrainians are bringing to the attention of NATO and the European Union. Is they're trying to basically say that Russia's into their black ops things once again. This isn't unlike, though, what the U.S. has done back in the 70s and 80s. Even nowadays, I guarantee you, a lot of black ops forces still use the same tactics, which is basically they dress up. Back then, they dress up as Colombians, Cubans, like different regime, or different cartel colors and things like that. They hire soldiers who were more Hispanic, ethnic, Latin-looking, and they could speak Spanish. And then you'd have the Russian guys. I actually had a buddy who they dress you up as a Russian and send you down there to, I want to say it's Cuba. There's a whole Castro thing. But, it's pretty interesting, the things that we say. Again, I'm just bringing up that this problem with Russia, but it's like, the U.S. does it, we just do it better. And then we don't hear about it because why? We're in the United States. We're not going to get the media to start talking about the things that our government are actually doing to other countries. But that's why we're here, right? In order to get you that real news and to try to compare what really is going on in the world. So, ISIS, by the way, I forgot to mention this. Supposedly they're more focused on changing the name to IS or the Islamic State. Wow, that would be horrible. The Islamic State, basically, which is a good thing because I don't know if anybody else noticed this. ISIS is an Egyptian goddess, and I just thought it was completely disrespectful because, Islam doesn't believe in anything about the Egyptian besides the fact that they exist. So, then, moving forward, let's go into other world news. So, Pakistani protests. Just to let you know, if you haven't heard about this, we're going to cover more tomorrow, along with the border crossings. Pakistani protests are becoming a big thing right now. They're actually trying to get the prime minister to step down, and that's been going on for the last couple of days. I've been watching it over the weekend. Nothing's really changed so far, what I've seen. There might have been updates today. I haven't checked, but I will have more information on that tomorrow. Just to let you know, if you haven't noticed, there's more protesting going on overseas. All right, moving forward. Let's see. U.S. conducts operations against Al-Shabaab. If you haven't heard, this is happening in Africa. Pentagon told CNN operations today, Monday, to assess the situation. In other words, they sent them in to stop things and to make sure that everything was cool. Basically what happened was there was a, between African forces and Al-Shabaab, African forces attacked some of the regiments of Al-Shabaab, and Al-Shabaab came back and hit them. again, I try not to give out too many numbers on deaths and casualties because they're making it seem like they didn't kill any of Al-Shabaab's forces, but they didn't actually say that. But then they're saying there's about 10 deaths of the African military forces, but they attacked a prison that has 35 guards. So again, a little bit of misinformation, it seems. Not sure kind of what's going on. But again, this is where kind of under the table, U.S. conducts operations against Al-Shabaab. So this is going to happen here in Africa, where you're going to see U.S. going in and being sent to different places. I think it's just taking some time. They've been trying to get a hold on the population out there, folks. That's what the Ebola scare is all about. Trying to get a hold on the population out there because those people, they've got history. And you can't have history. That doesn't work. So, let's see. Moving forward, Ferguson's still protesting. Yeah. So, anyways, not sure why that's happening. Cop already received a bunch of money. It doesn't look like we're winning on that one. I understand the fight, guys. I just, yeah. Understand the fight, but when you lose, you lose. I mean, take it to the digital world. You don't have to still be standing around on Labor Day. That's where you get these comments saying, hey, don't they know it's Labor Day? You're not supposed to be working. Not supposed to be protesting either. So, fun times, guys. I know I'm working on Labor Day, but this is fun. I enjoy it. Anyways, moving forward. NATO announces to forge a counter-Russia unit. Well, basically, they're spearheading tactics in order to counter what's going on in Russia. There was a treaty between NATO and Russia a while back that stated, hey, we can't set up bases around Russia that's within a certain distance of their borders. I don't know that exact distance. I just know it says near the borders. So the way this works is, when these kind of incidents happen where Russia is slowly creeping over into other countries, and the other countries right now, Eastern European countries, are getting really kind of hesitant and weary. At least that's what the reports are from the Western culture. We really don't know. There are some Ukrainians who want to be a part of Russia. Really weird stuff, man. I'm not quite sure how to think about this. It's really an interesting fact to see how NATO is now starting to attack Russia when, again, bringing up the fact that Russia is doing things that America does, wiretapping, just all sorts of things, infiltrating other countries with Black Ops, like I said earlier, and just throwing around their military power. When the United States goes and disapproves of a country's action and Russia supports it, come on. That's just playing the political game. So, really interesting just to kind of compare these two superpowers. And I do consider Russia a superpower. They are a threat. They've always been a threat to us. If you don't know that, then it's kind of funny. It's just like China. Russia and China together. Come on. That's some scary shit, folks. But America will never die. Anyways, so moving forward. So basically what NATO wants to do is provide 4,000 initial troops. And that is 4,000 in rotation. So basically different NATO countries will be providing those troops, and it's going to be around 4,000. They said that was a ballpark number. Also, what they're going to be doing is intel updating for defense strategies and training. So basically, they're going to be starting to train the local Eastern European forces. This is, again, comparing the countries and what's going on. U.S. leads in these foreign affairs when it comes to UN and NATO. They're really a huge powerhouse when it comes to it. And so what's going on here when they say the alliance, and this was another thing, when NATO said, the Eastern European countries don't have to fear because the alliance will defend them. That's straight something out of Star Trek or Star Wars here, folks. We got to get to this point of understanding that claiming this whole one world organization is not the best thing in the world to do. It is good to have independent individualism when it comes to countries and states and organizing themselves. Even if we come to the understanding that instead of calling ourselves countries, we say states, or we do countries and states, and just keep it like that, man, and have a complete world agreement council, but not one that actually dictates anything. It's just you kind of just work together to make sure we're not all killing each other. But that's when NATO pulls something like this. This is not working together, so we're not killing each other. This is training Russia's surrounding border countries in order to attack them. This is giving them 4,000 troops inside of their borders, but even if it's not stationed on or near the border of Russia. So this is where it becomes very interesting. And also you have people from NATO stating things such as, Russia at this point is not acting as a partner to NATO, so they're not considering that the agreement still stands. And that's where you're gonna see an issue that starts to pop up. So pay attention to that folks. Not only is Russia starting to push their weight, but NATO's pushing back, and I can definitely say that, we might be looking at World War III here, huh? That's at least what it's looking like, unless Russia just says, hey, can we just stop this, and tries to bend over, but I don't think so. Putin doesn't seem to be putting his butt up in the air, if you know what I'm saying. Too many horseback riding pictures and shooting tigers. But like I said, it's really interesting to see NATO claiming this term alliance and then using that as an arm to say, well, Russia's not leading up to their end of the bargain, so we're going to supply troops. And when they're saying 4,000, I'm not sure if that's 4,000 per country. I'm not sure how that's working out. But again, they're talking about updating defense strategies and training and changing the infrastructure for the mobilization of the military that is going to be available. So that's interesting right there, is we're not just talking about giving troops and saying, hey, you guys, we're going to set up over here. If anything happens, call us. This is straight up, hey, we're sending in troops. These aren't just troops. These are going to be high-ranking officers, and they're skilled platoons, and they're going to train your soldiers. And all our soldiers that are going to be sent over there are going to be able to train all your soldiers. Because that's what you're saying. You're saying you're sending some of the best soldiers over there in order to revamp the system that you guys have, which is really interesting, because where does the NATO have the authority or the right to go into these Eastern European countries and teach them anything about military? It's as simple as we're talking about ISIS, we're talking about the Taliban, it's Al-Qaeda. All these things are coming from an original source where people were teaching them about war. I just don't think anything good comes from teaching of war. Martial arts, that's one thing, but war is disgusting. Okay, moving on. This is going to lead into our whole segment on religions and sciences revealed, new energy from an old world. This is the last article for our news brief, fighting Tesla. So what's going on right now is this major company, Tesla, which is, if you haven't heard, an electric car company. It has been having some legal issues. It has been having some, muscle movement going on from the opposing forces. Let's see, Texas, Arizona, and New Jersey ban direct sale to consumers, which I'm not sure how that works. I'm still kind of figuring out what all this is, but it's very interesting to see how big of a deal this is becoming. In Georgia, there was actually arguments that broke out from the Georgia Association of a Georgia Alliance Dealer Association, something like that. Georgia Auto Dealership Association. There we go. Sorry, folks. It's an acronym. I didn't write it down. Basically, they not only want their license revoked, because Tesla, what they did in Georgia, they oversold a certain amount of quota, and it's kind of ridiculous, folks. It's really not a huge amount of oversales. I can understand getting a fine for extra taxing on the sales, but to revoke a license, that's one thing they're asking. The second thing, and this I think is a huge, huge blow in order to hinder their development within within the United States. They're trying to get them to ban the Model S sedan production within Georgia. I think it's within a city near Atlanta. So that right there, that just blew my mind. So not only are these dealerships in Georgia trying to get them to revoke their license, but they're also trying to get them to not be able to sell Model S sedans at all in this area, to just block the sales. This is phenomenal, folks, because the reality is we need to get off of crude oil. If anybody tells you anything about oil, they're ignorant and just ridiculous. It is old and dying technology. It is something that we will run out of. It is inevitable. It is something